So many of us, myself included many times, on this film roll, are putting basically one foot in this modality and still keeping one foot in the world. And that's great. It's all part of our journey. But what if we could take surrender and actually go all in? Because I don't know about you, but I'm sort of getting sick of the vestiges of me that are not surrendering. Of course, that's a paradox, because being sick of it is not going to solve the situation. In fact, that's the first thing you have to surrender to. But what does it look like taking this aspect of surrender and going all in on it, which means being 100% committed to that? And I know it's going to apply only to a few of the subscribers and watchers of our channel. Those who don't want to do it, of course, you're free not to do it. But I want us all to engage in a sort of experiment of going all in surrender. And this ties in very naturally to quantum resting. In fact, your whole life will become quantum resting. We're going to explain what that is here in a minute. But the point of this video is this. Would you care to go all in on this modality? And what does going all in mean? It means to take the adage of Neville Goddard at its face value, to take it seriously, and that is, do not lift a finger to get what you want. Abide in the wish fulfilled. You become very clear in what it is you want. You get into state, and we've talked about that in multiple videos. You get into state, and the most powerful time to get into state is after you've gone into this quantum resting. But you get into that state, you get a good sense of what that feeling is like. And remember, the crux of this is not verbal, it's not even imaginal. The words and the images can point you towards that state. But that state, as you will find, is going to be something visceral. It's going to be something that you point at and that you immerse yourself in, like the mustard seed, and you close yourself, seal yourself in that state. Then you are in that state. So it's not the words or the images that comprise the state. Those words and images are meant as scaffolding, so to speak, to help you abide in that state. And the moment that you don't need those, you can drop those as well. And then you're purely in the state of your wish fulfilled. Now, how do we go about life in that? Well, when we realize the aspect of film rolls and what they are, and when we realize that every single possibility and path is abiding within us, the true I am, then you'll know how to go about this. And going about this is choosing to see everything that happens to you in the very small portion of reality that we can see and sense and hear and smell and touch, the 3D, which is actually a very minuscule portion of infinity, if you will agree with me. We can choose to see everything that comes to us as a sign, or even more deeply, as emanating from, as growing organically out of the state of the wish fulfilled. But even deeper than that, once we see it as that, what is our response to that? What is the behavior that one would exhibit were he to see any phenomenon as a sign of what state he desires to have and is already abiding in? It would be complete acceptance, complete openness, and that's how we're choosing to define surrender. Openness. A non-critical, neutral acceptance an observation of what's going on. I tell you, that is the only state in which you're acquiescing to the wish having already been fulfilled. So what does a life like that look like? Something happens to you that you don't like, that upsets you, that ruffles something within you, because we're all dealing with our conditioning and our limitations, and our conditioning and our limitations come up as emotions and feelings on the inner. So when we have a quote-unquote negative emotion, we know that that's not negative. We see that, we observe it, and then we simply observe the feeling within us, and we let that play out, and we let what's going on the outer play out, and we come to it with an attitude of play and with an attitude of surrender. Why? Because we know that this is a sign of our desire. This is an outpouring and an outgrowth of our desire. We may not be able to rationally see how and why, but because we're all in this modality, we choose to see that as a sign of our desire unfolding. Because our desire could unfold in an infinite number of ways. All roads lead to Rome, so to speak. But it's going to unfold according to the best aspect for us, according to the most beneficial way for us. Because the universe knows what our hang-ups are. The universe knows our personality, and so on and so forth. In fact, we are it. So everything that happens is going to unfold in a perfect way. Once we trust that, we can see whatever comes to us from the outer, and indeed, I can include feelings, physical feelings, that are a result of an emotion, a result of a thought, as the outer. So we just observe all that, and then what do? Well, as Abraham Hicks describes it, we take the next logical step. We're now not struggling against the input that's just come to us. We're not acting out of worry and fear. In fact, never act out of worry and fear as an emotion. Now, a feeling of foreboding that elicits an immediate act, that is inspired, that's from the universe, that's something you should act on. For example, if you see a lion, your natural instinct is going to be to run. That's not fear. That's a primordial feeling which will drive you to do that. But when it's mixed up with emotion and judgment, never act upon that until you observe that, and then observe the peace that's on the other side of that, and then whatever the next step is will arise organically. Now you act according to the next logical step. And if you don't know that, you just continue to observe in a state of acceptance and surrender. That is living in surrender. And if you go all in on this, you'll never take an action from worry again, you'll never take an action from fear again, and you'll never take an action to make it happen. Now, what does this look like? Let's say we have the intention of being a millionaire, but you're in thousands of dollars of debt, right? So you don't now go and take an action saying, I want to go and I think I'm going to get this job and try to climb the corporate ladder to be a millionaire no matter what the cost. No. You sit, you become silent, and you wait for that inspiration. It will come. And maybe the inspiration is going to be, let's go sit in this Starbucks here and, write a book that I'm working on. Or it could even be, let's call this person and see if they're offering jobs at such and such a company that I'm interested in. You're following your inspiration, but you're never taking action to attain that intention. That's how to go all in on this, and that is the pathway to surrender. It's living a life of surrender, and I promise you, you will see how your higher self, your true self, brings everything that you need in quicker time than you thought possible. And I'll just read from Krishnamurti. He says, meditation is not a separate thing from life. It is the very essence of life, the very essence of daily living. It is the perfume of life, the beauty of life. To meditate, or what we say to quantum rest, is to see that thought can never penetrate this extraordinary space of silence. And he also says, true meditation is not an act of escape, but a serene encounter with reality. It's the complete release from the past, freedom from the known, from the self, the me, that suffers. It's freedom from the known. Everything that you know is a sort of framework and modality that you have. Freedom from the known gives you that space to go into something completely different. So it's freedom from the known, from the self, the me that suffers, that is in agony, that is fearful, anxious, and sorrow, lonely. In that freedom there is a peace. There is a silence. That is not the silence which thought can cultivate. That is not the peace which thought can imagine. It's above and beyond and penetrates everything. He also says, meditation is the art of being silent. It's not the silence between two noises, nor the silence between two notes, but that silence which is not touched by thought. That silence the mind cannot conceive. It is something totally new. It is a different dimension which thought can never penetrate. And finally, Krishnamurti, freedom from the known. Meditation is to be aware of every thought and of every feeling. Never to say it is right or wrong. Don't do these moral judgments, guys. You just watch it, you observe it. But just to watch it, he says, and move with it. In that watching, you begin to understand the whole movement of thought and feeling. Out of this awareness, like we said, first you become aware of it, you let it pass through you. And then out of this awareness comes silence. Silence of the mind is the beginning of meditation. It's the beginning of quantum resting. And that is the gateway to everything. And I'm adding this. It's the gateway to everything that you've desired. So do this. Enter into quantum rest. From there, imagine, and from there create your reality. And guys, see how your existence and your reality is going to take off and explode into new vistas. So thanks for watching, guys. Remember, I am doing coaching calls. That's a modality that's taking off. I will put my email in the description. You can email me, and we will get on a call, and we will teach you how to make more progress in weeks than many do in months and years. Please do subscribe to the channel. Share the videos, guys. Like the videos. Comment on the videos. Help us get this word out to as many people as possible. I hope you have a great weekend. And until very soon, guys, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa, signing off.